Hey everybody, it's Anjanette from AJ's Personal Touch. How you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. This is Saturday, January 20th. You don't have to move Clua. Clua's been sitting right down here on my lap. And now all of a sudden, because I'm talking to you guys, she thinks she needs to move. Do you think you're not going to get so much attention from Mom, honey? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Welcome into my subscribers. And well, welcome in to anybody new and welcome back to my subscribers. I always flub that up. I wanted to do a sit and crochet with you guys. Chat and crochet. And then I realized my husband's going to be home any minute. So I think I'm going to sit and chat with you for a couple minutes. Then I'm going to go. And then when I come back later, you can see how far along I am. He usually goes down for a nap at some point. So when he does that, I will come back in. Or he'll go outside and shovel snow because we're in the middle of, I can't remember if today is the lake effect or if it's just the regular storm. Plus, I want to watch the weather. So I can watch local news now, but I believe it's on, maybe on now. I don't remember the times for the weekend. It's been so long since I've watched it. So I want to go watch the weather because I haven't actually watched it on TV for about a week or two since I've been kind of out of it. So what I'm working on is one of the arms for the moose. So it's kind of hard. I'm doing a decrease row right now. I was going to try to wait to come on until after the decrease row, but he's probably going to be home then. So I figured I would part way through it that I would be able to finish it here real quickly. And I'm using the invisible decrease, which I am not set up to do tutorials or anything, but if you've never seen the invisible decrease and you want to learn how to do it, let me know. And I will put it in my notes to try and show you guys sometime. It's really easy, really easy. So there you go. I only have a couple more rows left and I'll have the arm done, which is good. My plans are to get the moose and the taco rattle done this weekend. So I can call the lady who ordered them and say they are done and apologize again profusely about the fact that it has taken me so long. This is the longest I have ever had a commissioned project take me. Now, granted, I had my surgery and we didn't even know that it was a possibility till like right after I took the order, and then I had to work in the back room trying to get things put away and get the house ready for me to have surgery, and she knew all this. And I'd actually saw her in person on 4th of July, and we talked about all of this, and she was like, take your time. He was born beginning of June. So she said, you know, every time Grandma sees him, I'm going to be taking her gifts. I'd really hoped to have it done by Christmas, and as you guys know, I worked pretty hard right before Christmas until I realized I was not going to get Emily's done because I got sick. And so then I had to stop and just work on Emily's in order to get hers done. So before I start working on the baby blanket that I'm making for my great niece, I really want to have these done and out of here. So they're not on my mind. I don't have to worry about them anymore. I can work freely and not worry that I have something else I need to be working on. So normally commissioned crochet gets worked on before anything else. But again, I had surgery. I could not think well enough being on pain meds and things, not just the pain meds, but surgery itself and the leftover anesthesia and all of that really messes with my brain. So, until it wears off, I was not well enough to even try to sit here and crochet. Plus, I was dealing with the fact I was in a ton of pain. As you guys know, I was cut from hip to hip because they took off my excess skin and it hurt pretty bad. And the last thing I wanted to do was pick up crochet, pull up like this, and pull everything. So I didn't work for quite a while. I didn't do any crochet, I know, for over a month after surgery. So I believe that's what it was over a month. So yeah. Um, so I need to get her done. I have all the pieces done except for the two arms. And then it says to stuff them as you go. I have not been doing that. I just have the pieces done. And then I'm gonna get the stuffing. I'm gonna stuff them. Lots of times for baby toys, I like to stuff it with my cut yarn. With the size of this project, I don't have enough, so it's going to be a combination of cut yarn and the stuffing. So anyway, I see he is coming now, so I'm going to let you guys go, and I will come back and show you my progress in a little bit. See you later. What's up? Come on. Okay, I am back. It is, just under an hour later. And let me count this to make sure. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 rounds. Yep. So I am done with this arm right here where this progress keeper is. That's where I was when I left. And now I'm up here. Now I did stop and do a couple things besides crocheting when I had went on pause, talked to my husband for a minute when he came home. But yeah, normally I could probably do the arm within, with this yarn, an hour. With other yarn, it might take me closer to a half hour, 45 minutes. I love this yarn. If you can see it, let me turn my light on. Let me see. I'm trying to move without Chart. Chart came back inside. He had went outside when Bob first came home. Came back in to sit by Mama. Yeah. She would not sit up here with me at all since we got this chair and he's finally getting used to it. That's why I wouldn't wake up today, because he got up here and snuggled with me, and let me tell you, when they snuggle with you just right, you don't want to wake up. And I haven't had shark snuggles in a while. Kahlua knows exactly. Kahlua will lay on my chest right here. Puts me out instantly almost. Especially if she does it on a night that I can't wake up. Anyway, here. I know I'm a ways away, but there's the progress keeper, which looks like my Kahlua baby. It has a black nose instead of the beauty mark like Kahlua has. But the progress keeper is right there. That's where I was. And I finished all of this. The only way I like to play yarn chicken ever is when I actually have more of the same yarn. And that's what I did with this. I had a big, probably about, if I would have rolled it up, it would have probably been a ball about like this that I thought would finish this. But I lost at Yarn Chicken. There's 25 rows in this arm, and I got to row 23. So I just did I think it's called what, a magic tie. Did that. tied on the skein, and I am so glad I bought the skein. What I normally do when I start a project that somebody has commissioned me to make, I talk with them, find out what they want, if they have certain colors in mind, look for patterns. On this one, I found two patterns. I found this one by Stringy Ding Ding, which this is the color that the colors she used for her mousses. So it has a light body, and then the paws were dark, the hooves were dark. And then the other one I found had the dark body with the light hooves. And my friend who commissioned me to make this, she liked the dark with the light, but she liked this mousse, um, the way it looked compared to the other one. So I had to flip, and I looked for yarn. She wanted it to be a small, like 4 to 6 inch little stuffed animal, but it's going to be bigger than that because I couldn't find a sport weight or um, why do I always do this to myself when it comes to a 3 weight? I'll just say a 3 weight. Um, I couldn't find a 2 weight or a 3 weight, a sport weight or a 3 weight with the right colors. And I looked and I searched and I looked and I searched. And then I found this Respect yarn. And I love it. I absolutely love this yarn. Depending, it can be maybe a tad bit splitty, but this is coming out amazing. The only thing that bothers me is because it has all of these different colors woven in. It's like it's a chain spun yarn because this is all interwoven. It's not wrapped. I just thought, actually, no. Now I think about it, it's not really splitty because of that fact that it is a chain knit yarn. I love it. Absolutely love it. And it's giving it, to me, it's making it look like an old-fashioned type toy. That is the kind of aesthetic that I feel this is bringing to this project. And it's just simply gorgeous. Simply gorgeous. I thought I had gotten, well, I guess that was the end piece that was tucked in. I've noticed that a lot on some of the nicer Lion brand yarns, that usually that end piece that you can just pull out that wraps around, it's put in here with a bit of a chunk of yarn. So I thought I had found the center pole, but I did not. It's actually around the outside. I'm going to try and get the label off nicely. There we go. Set that aside because I have to start with this one. I'd accidentally, I was talking to somebody that I hadn't talked to on virtual chat before last night. And I started with the dark color, and then I almost got to where I needed to switch. And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I did it backwards. I did it backwards. So I had to stop. Actually, I was to the part on the hoof where you went into the back loop only so that when it goes up the side, it makes it easier to bend. So I would have had a couple more rows to do in that color. So I'm just glad that I figured it out before I had switched colors and started with this one, and I would have looked at it and gone, oh, what did I do? I wanted to show you the cocoon, but where I'm sitting at right now, I cannot get it to bring it up here to show it to you. I thought I did that. Okay. If you don't start working in your magic ring the way you're supposed to, when you go to cinch it, it will not cinch. And that's what I accidentally. I knew it looked a bit off. And I also didn't do a chain. I always chain one first. And I did not chain one first. So chain one. Now I have it the way it's supposed to be. I cannot wait to see the baby. I cannot wait to get these done so that I can look up the stitch that I want to make the baby blanket in and get the yarn that I'm using for the baby blanket and start working on the baby blanket. I'm just excited to get started. Now, one thing that I have learned how to do, and I didn't know this until, I don't know, sometime last year, I think is when I learned it. If not, it was at the very end of 2022. But there are two different ways. Actually, yeah, I think it was in 2022. And I know who I learned it from. I learned it from Anvy's granny. And I'm trying to think of what she calls it. I never knew until then that there are two ways to make single crochet. I know that some people yarn over or yarn under. And to me, that's just doing the same stitch, but it does give it a little bit of a different look. But there's the single crochet then, and I believe it's not reverse, backwards single crochet or something like that, I think she called it. And it's where you yarn under instead of yarning over. And it's really nice for amigurumis because it's a tighter stitch and there's not as much space in between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The thing is, for me, you know, I'll get used to doing it that way. Then I'll go to make something that I want a regular single crochet stitch in. And then I'll forget for a while. And then I have to figure it all out again. And then, I just have to get used to it again. I'm going to do a regular one. I'm going to do two here in a row and try to explain to you the look. Actually, I think she called it either an X or a crossed single crochet because on a normal single crochet you get those two front legs, and when you yarn under you get more of a V. Well, no, that is a V. It's crossed. Those two legs that make the V on a regular single crochet, they cross a little at the bottom when you do it the other way. I couldn't see both legs at first. So I guess that's why, like I said, I think she called it the X single crochet, as in the letter X. Okay, increase, now increase, and then single crochet. just want to make sure that I'm doing these correctly. I'm building the hoof. I'm in a nice comfy spot now with charcoal up against me. At first he was taking some room that I needed him to back away from. 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. I know for myself, when I start a project that I'm making around something, round like this, and I need to increase it, I prefer that when I get past the first increase row, which every single stitch is increased, I prefer to do my regular stitch and the increase be the last stitch. So like right now I'm doing increase and then one stitch and then increase in the next chain and then one stitch in the next chain or slash stitch. I would reverse that to one stitch in the first stitch and then increase in the next stitch and do it backwards. And I'm not sure exactly why, except for I think the first couple amigurumi that I ever did were made that way. And both ways turn out in an even circle. I just like the look of it the other way. Everything doesn't seem all, to me, bunched up, especially if you seam it. Instead of going in the round like I'm doing right now, if you connect it with the slip stitch, the first stitch to the last stitch, it's not as bulky where the seam is because you're not going from the first stitch being 2 stitches. I mean, yeah, the last stitch is going to have 2 stitches and then you go into the first stitch that has 1. But for some reason, when you go that way, for me, it's not as bulky as if I start with the 2 stitches in the first stitch. It just seems to flatten out and go around nicer for me. Maybe I'm just weird. Let me know if you've seen any difference from one way or another, or if it's just all in my head. So besides being excited about starting working on the baby blanket as soon as I'm done with these, I'm excited to actually get to go and see the baby. And let me see. Make sure I didn't just mess up here. That was 2. And her name, I don't know if I've told you guys her name. And I always mess it up, so I need to look it up first. Because I have one name that it makes me think of. I'm not going to give you her whole name, of course. Lila. Her name is Lila. And her middle name is Kay. I keep on wanting to call her Layla. Layla Kayla is what I want to call her. But it's Lila. Lila Kay. I think that is such a beautiful name. I'm not sure if she's named after anybody. I need to ask. I know that I don't know if I should call her a niece-in-law, but niece by marriage. Oops, I'm a stitch off. So I messed up somewhere. Let me check this real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Okay. All the way around at the beginning. Let's see again. 2 in the first one. 1, 2 separate. 2, and then 1, 2 separate. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. Anyway, I am so excited to finally get to meet her. And I'm hoping that we finally get to meet her maybe on Monday, but it may not happen until like Tuesday. He had told me that they didn't want, people up at the hospital. I was a little bummed because I really wanted to go see her, but honestly, I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't sick or contagious. I had been taking antibiotics. Um, so I knew I wasn't, going to pass anything off or anything. But just being in hospitals right now, it's so easy for me to pick up stuff. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, 24. So he had told me that, but then like my mom and dad went up the very same day he told me that to go see them. But I don't think my mom and dad called and asked from the way she just went. And I will never do that to anybody who's just had a baby, especially C-section. You never know how they're going to feel. I know, I'm sure that my nephew was fine with my parents coming, to see the baby. And as much as I would love to be considered immediate family, I'm not. I'm his great aunt. Well, I'm his aunt. I'm the baby's great aunt. So, and from my understanding, immediate family is all your family who like live in the house. So that's mom and dad and kids. Immediate family. So I am not immediate family. My brother and I have always had a kind of a strange relationship anyway, but I always tried to make sure to keep that at the side when it came to my nephews. When he met his girlfriend, my nephew's mom, she already had a 3-year-old, which was my nephew's brother, whom we all loved to pieces. And my mom was always afraid of them breaking up because, oh, my mom's spoiled and rotten. And he was the cutest little kid. Unfortunately, he's gone. He passed away 2016, I think it was. Which was very hard on all of us. He was a roofer, and they were putting on a roof, and he fell off the roof and broke his back. He had, I don't even know how many surgeries he ended up having. He was I don't know how. I know he was paralyzed, but I don't know if everything from the waist down was paralyzed or if he still had use of certain things. He was supposed to get married like within, I can't remember if it was a month or a couple months of when the accident happened. So they put it on hold, but they did get married a couple months later. She let him know she was not leaving him. The hardest part was he lived up in Michigan because when he moved away from here and he started having some problems, he had went to school. He started having some problems, and then his parents, of course, had been separated since he was a baby, and he decided to go up and live with his dad. So then he was far away from us, and even though he wasn't truly my quote family, he was my family, and I will always, always recognize him as my nephew, and I will always love him with all my heart. He had his rough patches, but he worked really hard to overcome them. The hardest part is he has two boys, and they were in a custody hearing, and he was literally either the day that he ended up in the hospital when he passed away or the day after was supposed to be the day of the hearing where he was going to get full custody of the boys, and his wife was going to adopt them. And because this happened, everything reverted back, and the kids are with their mom. And she was who he was with when he was at his rough point. She still needed to make some changes, and she won't let my sister-in-law, for lack of a better description for her, because if we were a state that recognized common law marriage, they would be considered married. She hasn't seen her grandbabies. That would be so rough for me. So rough for me. So I know she was really, really excited for Lila to be born because she's just so excited to be able to be a grandma. I get that. I want to be a grandma so bad, but it's not in the cards. Maybe because my son-in-law would possibly like to have kids someday. Maybe they'll have kids someday. Maybe it's not completely out of the question. But if they do, they'll be moving because they don't want to raise kids where we live. I got it. It's rough around here, but you're going to find problems no matter where you go. That's just how it is. And I just hope that if they move, maybe we'll be able to move around to where they're at, if it doesn't upset them. But if they move to Tennessee, which is where they were saying they might possibly like to move, I love Tennessee. I would love to move to Tennessee. I've always, yeah, I would like that. Mild winters. Yeah, that would be nice. 3 more rows and the hoof is done. I wouldn't even mind living in a small, little tiny small town, I don't think. But then again, I don't know. They all know your business there. Well, honestly, the number one drawback about us moving somewhere like Tennessee, which I guess I'm not thinking about. I used to want to move to Wyoming, where a friend of mine lives, very badly. I love the little tiny, teeny tiny town he lives in. I mean, blink, you miss it. They don't even have stop signs except for at the highway. But they're regular cross streets. They don't have stop signs. My daughter, Emily, and I went to visit when she was 6 years old to have a mommy and me vacation because I had been pretty sick from my HIV, and we honestly didn't know how long I had. And he had invited the whole family out to come and visit because he knew that I really, really wanted to see the mountains. I'd seen them in Germany when I had been overseas in high school, but I had never seen any of the mountains here in the U.S. Um, we may have passed through mountains on vacation going places, but we never really saw them because when we did, we passed by when it was in the dark. And when I was a kid and, with my parents going on vacation, we were usually sleeping in the back of the car. My mom's job would be to have us up all day long um, while my dad was at work during the day for his last day before we went on vacation. But she was to have us up playing around, using up our energy so that when he got home, he could load up the car at like 11 o'clock at night and hit the road. So he's one of those people who love to travel at night. He drove a small truck, one that he didn't need a semi license to drive. And as I was telling you guys the other day, he delivered food to nursing homes, restaurants, um, paper goods and toiletries and things, like hotels and all this stuff, which back then you didn't have a ton of them that had free breakfast in the morning unless it was donuts or something like that. So, but things like the creamers for the coffee and, sugars and, all of that kind of stuff. So he loved driving at night when the main people on the road are truckers. And when the traffic just isn't as heavy. And he's the type that he did not want to have to stop for bathroom breaks. So my mom better not have given us a lot to eat or drink that day. And she better not have taken her water pill because we were not stopping. Oh, I can remember all of the arguments because instead of taking the water pill earlier during the day so it wouldn't take effect, we got in the car, she would forget and take it like a half an hour before we left, and then we'd be in the car, and within a half hour, she would need to stop and use the bathroom. Oh, he would be so upset. Especially when we went to visit my aunt who lived 45 minutes away. We would be literally within 15 minutes, and he'd have to find somewhere to stop and go potty. And usually we were around Gary, Indiana, which is a bad area. Oh, he would be so upset. It's so nice not to have to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. But I miss I miss those days. 6, 7, 8. I miss my daughter being young more than anything else. I think that if I could turn back the clock and go back, I would. I definitely would. Okay. For some reason, it looked like this one didn't have as many 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. One more row. It's just comparing them. I know I've heard people say, when you give people advice when they have children and that, I've actually heard another YouTuber who has 2 babies now say the one advice that she really can't stand or that she doesn't like is when people tell you to enjoy it because once it's gone, you'll miss it. And she's like, maybe the stage that her daughter's in now or whatever, but the younger stage, she's just not going to miss the baby stage. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. But honestly, it's just generalizing whichever stage you love in your baby's development. Just treasure every day. Because whether you think you will miss it or not later, you will. Believe me, oh my goodness, I could not stand the terrible twos. But if I could have Emily back today during her terrible twos, I would take it. I miss all the hugs and the snuggles and the Mommy, I need you. Mommy, can you help me with this? Or Mama, can you help me with that? And, going to the zoo and just all of the stuff we used to do. And I would love to go back to be able to take more pictures in the video. That's the one thing I wish so much that technology would have been then, where it was literally just 2.5 years later when my godson was born and my best friend was able to take a gazillion pictures on her mobile phone. We don't have all those kinds of pictures of Emily when she was little, and some of them have been ruined, that were in our garage when the roof caved in from the bad storm. So, and videos that we took, most of them got ruined. And we had to get a new type of video camera at the time that had the mini cassettes that you put in a converter, and it's like next to impossible to find the converter that we need for that one. And it doesn't really matter because, like I said, the film that isn't actually working much anymore. All the money we put into that thing. Oh, but I have her in my head. We have pictures which you can't see from here, but I'm pretty sure there's still a picture in that. Yeah, there is still a picture in the corner. It's just right above where you can see. And if I turned it this way, whole wall has pictures of Emily. Then if I turn it around, we have a couple main pictures of Emily on the wall back there, but then we have two collage sets. One set is my husband's family, and the other set is my family. And I told him, I said, I would like to make some things for in here, um, like some wall hangings and stuff. But I just can't bring myself to take down the pictures of Emily when she was little. I just can't do it. I know Emily would like for us to take down the pictures of her when she was little because it embarrasses her. And I don't know why, because she was the sweetest little baby girl. But I also have, if you go into the hallway, on the cabinet door for our toiletries and stuff, where we keep them, I have a picture that she made when she was little in grade school. Actually, not even grade school, nursery school. That they made Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer out of a triangle. And it was supposed to be at the top two corners, they put the antlers. And then they put on, she was supposed to draw on two eyes, but then the nose was supposed to be the bottom tip. And they gave them a big, a red foil round thing, if I remember right. I can't see through. But I think it's a red foil. I don't think it's colored in. But anyway, it's on that tip. It could have been colored in. I don't know. Well, she didn't think it had a whole face. She couldn't grasp the concept of what it looked like. So she ended up putting a nose and a mouth on it underneath the eyes that she drew. And she was just like, "Oh, Mom, take that down. I was just so stupid when I did that." I'm like, "No, you weren't." And I love it. I absolutely love it. I am not taking that down. Well, I may take it down and move it into a room. Um, I had stuff like that all in my husband's and my room all around. And pictures she would make me for Mother's Day. And, and I showed she had made pictures in my office. I actually took pictures of those. I got rid of some of them. Others I put in a folder somewhere. But That's memories I don't want to get rid of. We can't, have a ton of clutter, but that's why I took pictures of some of the ones that I was like, okay, I can go ahead and toss these after I take a picture because I at least have a picture of what she did. I had on the wall right behind you, we have a pastel picture of her that I had made for my husband as a belated birthday slash Valentine's gift. Emily must have been looking at it. I can't see the date from here. I want to say she was 2 in this picture. She was wearing one of my absolute favorite outfits that I had bought her, which was like a marled purple color. It had a ruffly collar. And this guy was just in the mall. We went to the mall looking for a birthday gift for her dad, and I was having a really hard time finding something. I can't remember why we were late for his birthday that year. But something had happened. I don't know if I was sick, if he was sick, if she was sick, or what happened, but we hadn't celebrated his birthday yet. And I saw this guy doing these portraits, and Emily didn't want to sit down at first, but then, you know, he was very good at putting kids at ease, and she just sat down, and it's her profile, and it's gorgeous. Now, he came back every year. He would go and do art festivals and stuff, but he always came back, usually between Christmas and Valentine's Day. And I think when she was 8, I wanted her to sit so I could get another one done. And also, even though I never planned on divorcing my husband or anything, he was like, if anything ever happens to us, that's my picture. You gave it to me, right? And I'm like, yeah, I gave it to you. It's yours. Because he always said if, there was ever a fire or something, the first thing he would do is go and run and take that picture off the wall. I wanted to get another one done, so we had 2 of them, but she would not sit for it. She would not. Actually, at first she said no. Then she agreed and said she would do it. But the guy was on break, and we waited, and he was late getting back. He had one of those little clock things on. And then I think, if I remember right, he said that he had 2 people ahead of us before he could do it. And I told him we would have to come back because I had to get home to make dinner for when Bob got home. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I always count every couple rows to make sure I have the same number of stitches because I don't know how, but every once in a while, especially if I'm just sitting and talking to people, I get an extra stitch in there. Um, it happened while I was talking to my friend last night on the phone. I got an extra stitch in a row, and it happened again later when I was tired. I got an extra stitch in the row. So I always every couple of rows go back and count because I don't want to end up making it bigger even just by one stitch because it will throw the whole thing off. Now, if it's only been that way, and I know it's only been that way for like a row or 2, I will just go ahead and do a decrease of 2 stitches and then go around so that it's the right number. I'll just fudge it. 2, 3, 4. Now, there are certain things you cannot fudge. So, and you'll pretty much know what it is when you're working on it. I can't think right now. Oh, the Pile number 5 that we've been doing on here. It's a Dreamcatcher cocoon sweater. That we cannot budge. When I've had stuff messed up, I've had to go out and take off the whole row or back to where the problem was because it's very, very noticeable. And I've seen somebody fudge it, and then she was like, "What's wrong with it? Why didn't it come out looking right?" I said, because it was fudged. Okay, I forgot. This is my row to change color. So I had to take that last stitch out. Let me start it again, go in, pull that up. Now, I've seen people change colors on here a couple different ways. I've seen some people on amigurumis, especially when it's such a definite change between a lighter and a darker color, where instead of adding the yarn into the last stitch like I just did of the row before, so that it will make the loop of the stitch of the first stitch that I'm getting ready to do, they will fasten off after the last stitch, and then they will make a slip knot for the next color and pull the slip knot through and make their next stitch on the next stitch. I've tried it. Personally, mine don't come out looking like I've seen. Like I've seen Nikki. Oh, I can't think of her channel right now. I've seen her do it. And mine just comes out looking a little funky. Although honestly, there's sometimes that I've seen her do it that I don't like how it looks. And there's other times that it looks fine. So maybe it's just whatever it was that I was working on and I didn't like it. I prefer to do the old fashioned switch it in the last stitch. Sorry about that. Okay, got that off of there. Sounds like my husband's going to be coming in soon. Sounds like he's putting things back. Oh, scissors. I was going to get the scissors I left over here. And I used to cut off the yarn that I was changing from, and then I would add the new yarn, to it. But now I always make my first couple stitches with the yarn still attached. And I do crochet over the ends of both of them for a couple stitches. And for me, that tends to work out better because otherwise my tension gets messed up if I don't do it that way. And I would rather to keep my tension the same. So I just wait for a couple stitches and then I cut it, I separate the old color from the new color. unless I'm doing something, you know, like tapestry crochet and I need to carry it. Or say instead of a moose, I was making like a zebra and I needed to do stripes. I would more than likely carry my yarn. I wouldn't separate it when I change the color. And then when it comes time for the next stripe of the color that I have, you know, that I didn't cut apart down below, I will pull it up and do the first couple stitches. And then, um, depending on like if it's a big contrast like black and white, I will sever the yarn in between. Um, I will cut it between both rows and then sew in the ends, making sure always that the ends for the darker colors stay sewn into the darker color and not getting it into the lighter color at all. For me, it's just easier to carry the yarn with me on something like that because then I don't lose it. I don't have to keep on trying to find where did I put the yarn at, you know, yada yada. It just makes it easier. There we go. My first change row is done. And since I had to make two of these, what I'm doing, the marks I'm making on here, the rounds are written, you know, so where you've got some repeat rounds that are like round 10 through 15, 17 through 19. On this side, I write down the number of each round. And then for the first one, I put a check mark next to it. And then when I do the second one, I go through and I put a slash through that check mark. So it's a check, like an X, that the one half is a check mark X. So I can keep track of my rows that I'm working on that way. Um, I used to try and do little tallies. This system works better for me. Now, if I had to do three of them, I might go through and slash it a second time, or I may just put a check mark next to it. If I needed to do four, I would definitely put another check mark next to it, and then I would slash through it again. So basically, whatever system works for you. I do have a row counter on my phone, but I always forget that I have it. And I used to always forget to keep, you know, pressing it when I got to the end of a round or a row. So I need to see about either getting rid of my row counter that I have on it or start using it. See if I can get it, you know, to work well for me. Now, every once in a while, the little bit from the yarn that was cut off will go through to the front. So then I just make sure that I pull it through to the back. Now, I tried very hard to make this without the cats being around me. And since I was not able to do that, what I will do is I will make sure, and now I'm trying to decide if I need to do this before or after I stuff it. Probably be better before. I'm gonna wash all the pieces, and I'm thinking I may wash them tonight and then stuff them all tomorrow and sew it together. I have some non-fragrance, no rinse, delicate. I can't remember the brand of it that I had gotten either in a knit crate or in some kind of crate that I got, like a special holiday crate or something a couple years ago. Actually, I think it was from, oh, I'm not going to think of it. It's a company in Canada that has decent prices, and she does like birthday boxes. And she'll do, if you buy one or two skeins of something, if you put the coupon code in, you can get a free skein. I don't know if she's still doing that after COVID, but I used to, before the um, postage between the United States and Canada got as outrageous as it is, I used to purchase from her. I think I made 2 or 3 purchases from her. One of them was a mystery box, and I can't remember if it was the mystery birthday box that I got. I can't remember. I know she wrapped the stuff up, whether it was, mystery or not. She still did a good job with, wrapping stuff. So, kid say, but I really, really liked that company, and that's where the one wash. I have, um, I was gonna say the name of one of them. I have the popular one, and I can't think of the name of it right now that everybody has. Um, I have the fig flavored one. I have the one that's called Celebrate. I can't remember if that's the fig one or the berry one. And I love them too. It's just they're expensive. All of those kind of washes and things are really, really expensive. But I've been looking, I signed up for newsletter for Soak. That's it. I signed up for newsletters for Soak to see if they ever have a sale. And honestly, they don't do a lot of sales. I would love someday to get one of their kits that has um, the mesh bags and the little bucket that you can use to wash and soak your stuff in. And it's made just to use, for your crochet or your knit goods. They have kits that come with either with like 2 or 3 mesh bags and the basin and the soap. But then they also have other kits that come with the soap and then the spray that kind of makes things a bit starchy, but there's no starch in it. Helps thicken it a little bit, but there's no starch in it. I have some of that spray. I really like it. Um, but yeah, I want to get one of those kits one of these days. It's on my wish list with them anyway. Um, I just want to take care of things really well. And when it comes to making things for babies and when the cats are sticking around, when I first started making the mousse, I made them stay completely away from me, which was really hard with her. And all it did was cause extra problems and her acting out. So I'm just like, I just got to take the extra time, which it should watch it anyway. Um, but yeah, there is no reason to for me to block these, but just to wash it to make sure I get, whatever cat hair or cat dander or whatever off that may be there is always a good idea. 2, 3, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is that what I did? Yep, that's exactly what I did. So if you have a good wash that you use that you really like. I would love for you to let me know down below. I know I could go and get some light if I wanted to, but I really like the soak, but I really like this other stuff. I think it's Eucelon or something like that. It starts with an E. I like it too. I've seen where some people have the bar soaps that has the really delicate soap in it. Um, I might want to try one of those. Actually, I think I got one of those in one of my things from Macy that I had ordered one of her kits that she put together or something. So I'm gonna have to find that, and yeah, I'd like to use that too and see how I like that. But it has been over an hour. I'm actually getting close to an hour and a half here. I didn't realize I had been taping that long. I don't have to splice it together because I had put it on pause and it let me unpause it. So I am going to go so that I can get this uploaded to you guys in a couple minutes when I disturb the cats to sit up. Oh, the cocoon. Well, you know what? I'm just not going to show you the cocoon today. I'm sorry about that. I will get on and tape again when the mousse is done so that I can show you what it looks like, and the taco when I'm done with all this. So I'm just hoping that this will dry overnight pretty well for me because I really, really, really want to have it done tomorrow, which means I need to hurry up and get this late done so I can go and wash it and hopefully get in to use the sink before he's in and wanting to start to make something for dinner. So I need to go. I'm not going to upload this right away because I need to finish this first. But yeah, I will see you soon. I love you guys. Didn't mean to sit so far away through the whole thing, but again, I got cats on me. And I hope you enjoyed seeing. I guess you don't see Kahlua. She's down on my legs. And it's very unlike her to even like one of the other cats being around. But I think she understands that I haven't had a lot of time with Charcoal. And she would rather either be next to me while I've got him next to me, or she's got to, be somewhere else because this morning she was upset that he was up here. And so I told her, I said, if you're going to be upset, then you can't come up here. And she calmed down and she got up here and she's been fine since. So I know people say they don't understand what you say, but I truly think my babies do. So some of them anyway. Fluff, the one that we brought in, also not as much, but he's still a kitten. He's got a lot of learning to do. So anyway, love you guys. Remember, you matter. Don't let anybody tell you don't. And you're beautiful and you're gorgeous. And I love all of you. And I will see you soon. Really soon. Probably even tonight or tomorrow soon. More than likely tomorrow because I still have to make the taco as well. But I'm hoping to get it started tonight and maybe even finish it before I go to bed. So, love you guys, and I'll see you soon.